Hello, and welcome to Protect and Prevent podcast. My name is Opal Singleton, and I am the president and CEO of an organization called Million Kids, millionkids.org. We are dedicated to keeping kids safe from predators. And it's very important for us to share with you the latest information, everything that we can gather up. We analyze all the latest technology. We look at each and every case across the United States with the idea of being able to say, never again should another young person be violated because they did not understand. They didn't understand sextortion or financial sextortion or how AI is affecting child exploitation and like that. Today, I want to talk with you, especially parents or teachers, educators of any type, youth ministers, as well as people on the front line, like first responders, law enforcement, emergency personnel, and like that. I believe that it is very, very important to have the right discussion with your teenager. And what we're talking about here is being able to assist your teenager to understand when they are in a healthy relationship online or if they're approaching or being approached on an unhealthy or exploitive relationship online. Now, I share this with you because I realize that so many times young people, they go online and they have all their relationships online. There's a reason it's called social media. To our kids, it is social media. Okay. And the problem with that is it's my observation that so many young people go online looking for new relationships, but they're using the same criteria as if they're dating the person down the street. Well, of course, we all understand that if you're dating the person down the street, then you can evaluate it much more effectively than if, in fact, you're meeting somebody online. So I think that it's really important that we, as parents, as youth leaders, have this conversation to discuss with kids how can they tell if they're in a healthy relationship or if they're in a dangerous relationship. This is really, really important because so many of our kids make these relationships online. And unfortunately, in our work, we see that all too often, many times, our young people end up getting violated or exploited. And in some cases, in financial sextortion, it actually ends very, very tragically. And in some of the relationships that we have seen, they've actually gone out and met up with someone they met online, and it ends tragically. So, one of the things I want to share with you is probably no surprise to you is that the world has changed lately. In the last 3 years, our team at Million Kids has looked at literally thousands of articles, probably tens of thousands, as we're trying to keep up with what is happening in AI, global money transfer, geolocation software, character AI, open AI, and what impact does that have on our kids? At the same time, we came to realize that most people are aware that the entire world connected by internet long about 2022. Several countries around the world now have 5G high-speed internet with all the same technologies we do. Almost nobody realizes that puts people from around the world into our kid's bedroom and the back seat of your car if your kid is using their device there, and most kids are. So now there are 5.5 billion people online. So, with that in mind, how do we prepare a young person to recognize when they're meeting someone online that really is someone they should know, or if they're connecting with someone that might change their life forever, and in some cases, even take them to a point where they might end their life? These are tragic situations. And as we've read every one of the cases, there have been over 40 cases of young people, mostly male, 95% are male, that are really great kids, really great kids. They go to church, they have high values, they're super achievers, and yet they end up being seduced into sending some sort of nude or partial nude. And the next thing you know, they are being blackmailed. In fact, NCMEC, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, NCMEC, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, they actually took over 26 million reports in 2024 of potential online exploitation. What was amazing to all of us here at our research team is that more than 80% of those potential cases originated outside the US, trying to reach a US person. That got our attention, and I hope it gets yours. So that's the reason for this discussion today. Once the first part of the discussion between you and your child needs to be how the internet has changed. It's no longer just their group, a small group of people. If your young person is on Discord and they're playing all those video games, they're absolutely on there with a lot of people they don't know. So one of the things that if you start to have the discussion with your teenager, the first thing they do is get a little defensive, and this is my phone, I'm keeping it. Okay, I get that. I understand that. But I also want you to understand the world you live in. They're going, Mom, I know. I'm going to know, Grandma, I'm going to know. Don't worry about it. I'll know if I'm talking to someone, it's a bad guy. Okay, stop them right there. How? How do you know? What is your criteria for deciding if it's a healthy relationship or a dangerous relationship? What is your criteria? You see, almost every young person I've talked to said, well, I only talk to people that know me or know my friends, and their criteria up until this day, and hopefully after the conversation, it will change. Their criteria is, well, it's somebody, I only talk to people that know me. Well, here's the problem. Now the entire world is connected by internet. And everybody that is connected has access to all the same advanced technology you have. And so what is happening, especially in financial sextortion of young males, is that they gather up a profile of you. So by the very nature of that act, they are targeting people that are very successful, that have a lot of information online. So if your kid's a super achiever, they probably have a lot of information online about them. In fact, I challenge you, mom and dad and grandma and grandpa, sit down with a young person and say, okay, let's find everything out that we can find out online about ourselves. Go to LinkedIn, look in the parents and the grandparents. You might want to check on Zillow, because it's very possible that if your house has been on the market in the last 2 or 3 years, that the inside of your house, including your child's bedroom, is still online. If that is true, get hold of your realtor and tell him to get it off, because you can't do it. The realtor has to. But gather up all the information that you can. And part of this exercise is to help your young person see how easy it is for someone overseas to pretend they know you. On top of it, if your person is public on their internet or on their TikTok, they have access to all your young person's friends. And so it's very easy. They gather up a profile, they come on, they catch your kid at a point where maybe they're not paying attention, and this person seems to know them, and they seem to know their friends. So here's the problem is, if that is happening, how do we help our young people change their criteria? And so that is the first exercise that I would suggest to you. All of you go on a hunt online for everyone in the family and see what you can find out and how easy it is for other people to find out about you. So this is exactly how it looks. It'll look just like somebody who knows you and they're a friend of a friend. So let's talk about that with your young person. What is a friend of a friend really? Or what is a friend really? Well, right off the bat, I'd say it's someone you know and you can validate that they really are who they say they are. And that's very important. One of the things that I hope that the young person learns from this is somebody comes on and says, I'm a friend of so and so. Oh, you know, all the people you hang out with. I would teach that young person to say, well, it looks like I kind of know you, but let's do this. What's the password between me and my friend? Well, maybe there is a password, maybe there isn't. But other than that, I would say, you know what? I look forward to getting acquainted with you, but I'm going to wait and talk to my friend and make sure that all of this is accurate because I want to always know who I'm talking to online, really. So I'll get back to you. How do I reach you? I'm going to talk to my friend. I'll get back to you. That is one of the ways that you can protect yourself. So the other thing is that you'll want to wait to advance any of the conversation. They'll say, oh, well, okay, you can talk to your friend, but okay, fine, but I still haven't validated that you're my friend. One way that you can tell if they're really a friend or a friend of a friend is they will never ask you to do something online that might harm your reputation or go against your value system. That's very, very important. You see, we're just getting started online. And your young person needs to understand that starting as of today, they are laying out their online reputation for the rest of their life. So, whatever they put online, you better be careful. If it's illicit, it'll pop up. If they're sending nudes, it'll pop up somewhere along the line. They're trying to get into some college, and something out there that would damage their reputation is not helpful. Talking about being hungover or sending illicit photos or anything that might reflect poorly on them. I think it's important that if we're going to talk about relationships online, that we talk about the value of having a quality reputation online. I so many kids, young kids realize that in real life, but they don't realize that their online relationship is going to follow them for the rest of their lives. So, here are some of the things that I'm going to suggest that you talk with your kids about. First of all, never accept a friend of a friend until you can contact that friend and validate them and investigate the person and see who they are. And that is one of the questions that you should ask. If you're somebody who knows me, I need to be able to investigate you. Give me all your different information. I can track you on the different apps. Who are your friends? How do I reach them? If you're a friend of my friend, how do you know them and like that so that I can talk with them? So here are some hints that you want to be sure and share with your young person. One of the first hints that you're talking to someone that maybe is not a solid relationship for you is they will suggest that you talk offline or that you move to a different app. And if it's an encrypted app, run, baby, run, because they are immediately trying to get you into a place where they can influence you and you really don't have any real protection because it's encrypted. So anything can happen. If you're on a dating site and they say everybody's listening to this or they're listening in on us, let's go offline and talk directly. Again, that is a huge sign that this person may not want a relationship that is a healthy relationship. If it's a healthy relationship, they shouldn't have to be able to get you off on some encrypted app. Let's say that they want to keep the relationship private or secret or just between you and I. That's a big hint. Why does it have to be private? I'm proud of my friends and I want them to know that I am their friend. However, if I have to hide a relationship, then it's probably not a healthy relationship because what is that person hiding from you? If they send you an explicit photo or ask one from you, run, baby, run. Get out of there. Any explicit photo online from here on out is a no, no. Because once it's gone, and you can't ever get it back. It might go directly to them, but what's to keep them from sharing it with everybody else? What's to keep them from blackmailing you? And how do you know they won't blackmail you if you don't? What's to keep them from putting it in the dark web in a pedophile site where it goes out to more than 1 million paid subscribers? And they're saying, well, there's the Take It Down Act, you can get it back. You can only get the original back. Okay. If your child's photo ends up in a pedophile ring, one of them had 1.6 million subscribers. If your child's photo ends up there, it'll go to more than 1 million people. And you might be able to get the original back. You might be able to get some back that have been shared. But all they have to do is use AI and alter it, and they will never get back all the photos that are now online once it's released. All of this changed with artificial intelligence. And so your young person needs to understand that that is a dangerous relationship. Anybody asking for a nude, you're in a dangerous relationship. According to the statistics, 1 out of 6 boys and 1 out of 7 girls have sent a nude online. And so that is dangerous. It will change your life forever. You might have got away with it a couple of years ago before AI, before they had the ability to develop a whole AI profile of you, before they had all this information that was going on with deepfakes and like that. But now any photo, even a partial nude, can be a great danger. Anybody who is asking for any kind of photo that you have not met personally is not your friend. Okay, let's say you met them personally and they're asking for it. How are you going to protect what happens to that photo the minute it goes online? Because now with technology, it can be shared and reshared and reshared and reshared. And that puts you in a blackmail prison where people can demand money. They can threaten to destroy you in there. Okay. Another sign, they put you on the defensive and you have to prove yourself. Maybe they lay a guilt trip. What's the matter? Everybody does it. Why are you behaving? You're so childish. All of those are signs of bullying, of threatening, putting you on the defensive, putting you in a guilt trip. Anybody who's doing that to you is not your friend. It's that simple. Okay, let's say that they suggest a random chat app or an anonymous form. One more time, those are indicators that you are talking to someone who doesn't want everybody else to know. And if they're hiding it, then they most likely are not up to something that is going to benefit you. So what happens here? Maybe you want to chat and you want to live stream and you want to see them, but they say, well, I don't do videos. Okay, I respect that. And I'm not going to do videos either. But I'm also going to not give you any confidential information till I know who you are and what's going to happen to that. Watch out for people that you meet online that are inconsistent in their stories. It doesn't seem quite right. They say they are, in Burbank, but then they start to talk about it's cold outside. Watch out for those inconsistent stories. People can pretend to be anybody and anywhere online, and they can do that looking like they're your new best friend because they know of you and they know your friends. Watch out for big age gaps on there. In fact, pedophiles will actually test, the girl's 13. Well, I'm 23. Is that okay? Do you like guys who are a little bit older? Watch out for those big age gaps. That's a big warning sign. Watch out if they start asking a bunch of personal information like your address or your school or your phone number, or if they're flaunting the fact that they already have it. run, baby, run. That tells you they built a profile about you and they are not to be trusted. Watch out for somebody that's doing what we call love bombing. All of a sudden, you're the only person on earth for them. They trust you so quickly. They've never felt so close to someone in such a short period of time. And like that. And by the way, that's a good warning sign for parents and for grandmas and grandpas that might be in a romance scam. You've just met them, and the next thing you know, they want to run off with you. They want to marry you. They want to move in with you. Watch out for that. Those are all signs that they are not in a relationship that's going to end well for you. So many of our kids approach online relationships the same as they do in real life. So it's really important for your kid because, let's face it, all teenagers are looking for a relationship. They're looking to be recognized. They're looking to be admired, or someone thinks they're hot or good looking or smart or accomplished or whatever. So they're going online looking for that relationship. It is very, very important as parents that we teach them to watch out for those warning signs and watch out for anyone who might really begin to take advantage of you. So watch out if they start with compromising behavior. That's a sign right off the bat that they don't have any respect, okay? And that they're trying to get from A to Z very, very quickly. And mom and dad, you know what I'm talking about here. So watch out for that compromising behavior. Watch out if they bully you, dare you, pressure you to do anything. And watch out if they want to meet up. I hope that you will sit down with your young person and say, I know that it's exciting to meet somebody new. I get it. And I was young myself. And it's fun to fall in love and it's fun to have people love you. But when somebody wants you to sneak out and meet up with them and not tell anyone else, that is one of the biggest dangerous signs in the world. Please promise me. In fact, I often suggest a 4-point contract with parents. And one of the points on there is that you will never, ever go out and meet up with someone you met online. I mean, if they've been talking to them for a year and you, mom and dad, have been talking to them and you know something about them and you've done background checks, then you could arrange some sort of meeting depending on the age of the child. But if your child's like 16 and under, no way, baby, are you going to do anything like that. I want to completely know who you are and what you stand for, what you do for a living, if you've done a background check, and like that. Now, you and I both know, mom and dad, if your daughter or son started dating somebody down the street and you didn't feel good about them, you would be claws out, baby. Okay, I've seen some of these protecting moms, and that's a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But online, it's much more difficult. And that's where our kids meet people. So we have to think this out. If they suggest self-harm or cutting or online sexual activity, they are not who your child thinks they are or your teenager. No one who respects you, who wants something good for you, wants you to harm yourself or compromise yourself, especially online where you can be taken advantage of and ruin your future and your career. If they want to share pornography and they want you to share it back, that person needs to stop the conversation immediately, shut them off, and never accept another friend request from them. But your young person needs to understand that these people don't go away. In a day or two, they'll have a whole new friend request. Different name, different MO, the whole thing. But these people never go away. If they think that they can get your child to be compromised, these people are professionals. This is what I really want your child and you to understand. We have moved past the old line of thinking of just blackmail online. When you go offshore, and 80% of those cases originated offshore. You're talking about a Nigerian criminal group, an organized criminal group from Nigeria, from Pakistan, from Ivory Coast, from Myanmar, from Philippines, from India, from some very places that really have some serious organized crime. And if your child encounters one of them, those people are absolutely ruthless. So we have to start to bulletproof our kids. They need to understand that they're on the World Wide Web with more than 5 billion people. And those organized criminal groups are very good at figuring out how to get money out of kids and like that. Now, one of the things I share with you is if your child gets in trouble with one of these people, number one, they need to shut that thing off immediately and don't go back and keep trying to negotiate with them. One of the questions I always have is, will they share it? If I sent it, will they share it? Well, the likelihood is very great. That's their power. They're looking for money and they're looking to destroy you. These are not nice people. This is why I am so adamant that we have these conversations right now so your child begins to understand who that predator is on the other line and that they play for keeps. So never again should they ever give them anything that they can work with, not even a partial nude, because now we have AI, okay? And they can get that and make it into a deep fake and violate your child. So if they are talking to someone and they're suspicious, shut that computer down immediately and do not accept any new friend requests. Now, they need to go to a trusted adult. This is huge organized crime. And no young person I know of is prepared to stand against it. So get a parent, get a resource officer at school, get a security officer, get a teacher, get a principal, get a pastor if you go to church, and get someone to run intercession with you. Do not give them money. Ever. You will never have enough money to pay them off, so they will not violate you. The way you win this is you never, ever give them anything to work with, period. That's all got to change as of immediately. Keep all your personal information private, including your friends and followers. If they are a friend of a friend, shut the conversation off until you can go to the friend and validate that. One of the things I highly encourage you, mom and dad, to have in these conversations, and you may think I'm a little Pollyanna here, maybe I am, but I do believe it's the right answer, having worked with many, many of these types of cases, that if you can get your young person to sit down and write down who they are, what their values are. I say that because one of the reasons I have read every case of the 45 young people who have taken their lives, every one of them had high self-esteem and high values. They never really took chances, but they got caught in a point where they were just in a weak moment and they made a decision that changed their life. And then what happened is the predator holds up the nude and he holds up the list of the followers and says, this nude will go to all the followers. That is when the kid panics. And in some cases, he makes a very bad choice of ending his life or her life. Let's stop that today. Let's sit down with our kids and let's simply say, from this day forward, you know who you are, what you stand for, and you're not going to let some creep in Nigeria get in your way. Imagine losing your child to a Nigerian or Ivory Coast scam. And that is exactly what is happening. It doesn't have to happen because these kids are good kids. And what I know about these kids is if we educate them, they get it, and they're going to educate the next generation. And that is our challenge, okay? Discuss it with a trusted adult or good friend if they get in trouble or if they feel like something isn't quite right. You see, if they come to you for help, instead of trying to pay them off or take extreme measures, they can not only save themselves, but they can save probably hundreds of other kids. These people never have just one victim. And so they're ruthless, they are greedy, and they don't care who they destroy. Our kids need to understand that those online relationships have changed, and they need to understand how to evaluate those relationships. Block anybody that you think is risky. Watch out for any new friend requests because they come back as somebody else. And go immediately to a trusted adult so they can stand beside you. This is organized crime and they need to pay the price. And the only way they're not going to do that to you or your child or other people and other young people is if somebody stops and reports them. But let's hope it never, never happens to your kid because your kid had that conversation with you and now they understand on how to evaluate a relationship online. Some relationships online can be fun, they can be entertaining, they can be motivating. You can learn a lot of things. Teach your child to identify their values and teach them to know who they are and what they stand for. And if somebody is online wanting them to violate their values, they are not a friend. And they are not a friend of a friend. So the best thing you can do is get away quickly, shut it off, and ask for help. And mom and dad, it's important that we have these tough conversations, okay? I know they're going to put you off. They're going to go, oh, mom, I know. But let's don't settle for that anymore. How do you know? Because what you know was before the world was connected by internet. But the world changed the last couple of years. We have all this sophisticated technology, and it is going to take moms and young people working together to keep everyone safe. And why is this important? Because the next generation is coming up behind them, and they are going to have more opportunity than any generation, but also more opportunity to be exploited. We have to start with this generation, have the tough conversations, and let's make leaders out of our kids while we're keeping them safe. My name is Opal Singleton. The organization is Million Kids, millionkids.org. Please sign up for our newsletter. I have my latest book out, Digital Warfare. It's on Amazon. You can get it in paperback or Kindle, and you can get an audio version for only $5 at millionkids.org. So I hope that you have gained something of value out of this. Write to me if you want to make a comment or a suggestion. My email is opal, O-P-A-L. My name's Opal Singleton. So Opal, O-P-A-L, at millionkids.org. I hope it's been helpful. I'll see you on the next podcast.